Hey, and we are the coalition, loud and proud, outrage porn-free, civilly disobedient media. We're here still in Woon-sock-ette, Rhode Island, the Paris, if you will, of northern Rhode Island. Someone who's clearly on a tour of the continent today, all over Rhode Island, is incoming Housing Secretary Stefan Pryor. Viewers to the coalition will recognize him in his former capacity as the Commerce Corp director. You know, this has been a difficult week to start a new job. So congratulations for diving right in.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it.
What was your purpose today? I mean, you've literally been visiting quote-unquote warming centers all over the state. So tell us a little about what you've seen and maybe any lessons you're learning from this.
Absolutely. Thought it was very important to use the couple weeks preceding my arrival in the new job, since my appointment, the couple weeks, to make sure I'm out in the places that are serving the most vulnerable Rhode Islanders, people who are unsheltered, people who are in emergency condition because this cold and wind stretch is affecting the individuals or families. I want to make sure I was out and about, seeing if things are working. Even though I'm not official, I can make the right phone calls. I can do what I can. So I've been all around the state. Today I've been at the Armory, I'm headed to Newport, I've been at Pawtucket recently. Pat, I've had the privilege of seeing you in several of these locations, so thanks for covering this work and for also being out there. It's just important that we focus on the places that are serving people in need. So that's part of what we're doing. I will say also, we've been gearing up for the job, so we're having more routine meetings with the housing professionals and advocates and homelessness professionals and advocates who can share with us the state of play, talk to us about the status and the challenges and the gaps, so that when we enter the job, we can hit the ground running.
For anyone who is questioning, maybe from afar, the seriousness of the weather issues this week, we've actually not had just one, but two boiler meltdowns at, I'll call them industrial-style facilities, which, I mean, these aren't, in the case of St. James, a wonderful church, a wonderful facility that is the home to so many different outreach organizations. Their boiler last night was put past the performance point. Now we're hearing stories from Steve Alquist about what's going on at the Armory in Providence. We've got people being moved around during hideous weather. It kind of shows just how much on the verge of a nervous breakdown we all are with our facilities in the state.
It does.
What's it like to inherit this kind of... You could argue that there's a lot of duct tape holding a lot of things together.
It's true. It's very challenging. I think there are a few things to observe. One is that a lot has been done to prepare for the challenges that we're experiencing, but more has to be done. And we're going to hit the ground running and start preparing for next winter. It's predictable that next winter there will be winter. So we're going to start that planning process immediately. And we need to look to the even longer term, to permanent supportive housing for vulnerable individuals, so that we can help people be on the path to a much better life as opposed to shelter in any form. But that's important. It is also important to note that during emergencies, specific emergencies will arise. It should not be a surprise. So, at the Armory, what happened was the heat at the central area, the atrium area, if you will, dissipated because some windows broke in the extreme wind. So that's what happened. So we also need to build in adaptations. We have to build in nimbleness to our system. We need to be prepared to swing into action when predictable emergencies arise.
Well, and as you pointed out too, it's moving towards a real solution for housing in the state eliminates some of the reactiveness necessary for situations like this. In a perfect world, and we know that's going to be pretty tough, but in a perfect world, we don't have people looking for shelters who have been living outside for protracted periods of time. We have some degree of unanimity across the state in terms of standards, approaches, what happens when we need to run a fire drill.
That's right.
It's having that in place ahead of time, and I think that's what you're touching on.
It's exactly what I'm saying. We need to build housing at every income level across our state. That's going to take years, not weeks or months, while we build to that point, inclusive of permanent supportive housing for our most vulnerable Rhode Islanders, many of whom are currently unsheltered. While we build to that future, we do need to have some of these transitional and emergency solutions. So that's what we have to map out and do a better job of, all of the above, and that's what we're going to work on. And Pat, I've got to run. So
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
I hope the lesson you take away from Woon-sock-ette is that local agencies with local boots on the ground,
Yes.
Grassroots, can actually put together, as you can tell, even in the second iteration in 24 hours, a pretty good product. We've got hot
For
meals
sure.
tonight, folks, here. We'll be publishing, along with this, again, repeating the new location, but we've got hot meals tonight, hot meals tomorrow. We've got capacity here for people to sleep, capacity in Woon-sock-ette for people to get warm, and it's all because of grassroots in the city getting
Volunteer efforts by people of goodwill here in Woonsocket and beyond. And I want to note that I'm so impressed with what has come together here in a short time. And I know there's been a good amount of planning in aspects of it. So I don't want to diminish the planning that went into it. And then people surged in the most fantastic way to make sure it came together. I'm so impressed. And it does show what people of goodwill, what volunteers, what citizens of Woonsocket and across Rhode Island can do. And sometimes government just has to let folks in the community lead and support them. So that's what we need to do, and it's wonderful to see you, and I'll see you again soon.
Be still my heart. I'm going to clip out that little section to play that. Stefan, great to see you.
Thank you, Pat Ford.
Congratulations on the new gig.
Appreciate it. Take care.